So you're telling me that there's a chance
that you might win.
for once?
Yes.
Regardless of what you may be seeing right now, do not be fooled, for this is an AutoDeal video,
wait.
as it's shown in the back.
Wait, just because you're here, it doesn't mean it's AutoDeal.
Well,
this
the
is
sign
actually
itself says-
thank you, Jack. Thank you very much, Mr. Jack Gutierrez.
Traitor.
This is a MotoDeal video. My name is Jinno, and he is, of course,
I introduced you
Mr.
to my wife.
Mr. Caco Terona. But, Caco, we are talking about these two bikes. We're not talking about cars today. We are talking about these two bikes, and we're going to be taking them out for a little bit of a spin as well. Of course, we're talking about the Segways. The one that you've been using the past couple of days is the Segway E110L.
That's right.
And then we're also talking about the top of the line E300SE.
So,
two EVs.
There's
here.
already discrimination here because your bike obviously looks so much better than the one that I'm driving.
I mean, come on. Seriously. It has to be that way. It has to match whoever's riding it, right?
This dude.
No, but okay. In all seriousness, let's talk about electric vehicles in general.
Yes.
Because recently there has been a law that has been passed that is stopping some EVs being on the road.
That's right. And I couldn't be happier about it because now that these EVs are not allowed to be on the road, it's because that they're not registered and the people that are driving them don't actually understand the rules of the road.
Because they don't have a license.
Yes, they aren't. Unfortunately, they aren't educated.
That's right. That's right. That's why they always break rules. They run red lights. They go
travel the wrong distance.
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
direction.
The difference is with these bikes, the Segways that we have here, they are registered. Meaning, you cannot ride these bikes without a license. You need to be passed by the LTO to be able to register these bikes and use them legally on the road. So I mean, they act like normal scooters. They are normal scooters. They just so happen to be EVs.
Correct.
So I want to ask you, because you are a Vespa rider.
Yes.
And you've been using this for the past couple of days. What is the biggest difference between the two for you?
I think the seating position is one thing that is, although it is similar to that of a Vespa, I feel like, and I'm already short, so don't even hit me on that anymore. But the fact that my legs are actually coming up a little bit more on this particular model. On that particular model, your legs stretch down a little bit back.
Can you reach the ground? Wait.
Dude, kiss my butt. Yes, I can reach the ground. Okay. It handles pretty much like a normal scooter. It's a little bitter on power.
Okay.
Because of the combustible fuel that you have inside the Vespa, there's that explosion and it just takes off. Here it is electric, like most other electric vehicles, but I guess in my head I was thinking more of an electric car with a lot more push to it. The moment that you put the throttle in, I was expecting a little bit more of a kick to it.
Like how a electric car
electric
is.
vehicle. But I have to understand also that this is downscaled by a lot.
Yeah, so this, with the E300, there's a lot of power.
Yeah.
And it's not just in the beginning, you feel it all the way to the end. So that's the difference between the two. This is the mid-range model.
Yeah.
And then this is the top of the line model. So it's a little bit different in terms of power.
So maybe, perhaps, if I were driving, the ones for good-looking people instead of the ones for just maybe the power would have been a heck of a lot different.
Yes.
But in terms of how does it feel, it does most definitely feel like your basic scooter that you can buy either for Vespa or Honda or Yamaha and all of them. Yeah.
So it's something that's definitely usable on the daily, how you would use a Vespa.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so let's talk about the more or further differences between these two models, right? So this is the 110. The base. It's the middle tier. There's an entry level version of this that's a lot more affordable. That's smaller as well.
Okay, I didn't know that.
So the middle tier one, you have a range of 100 kilometers, and then you have a charging time of 8 hours for one battery.
From zero. Yeah.
This one has two batteries, a range of 130 kilometers, which is significantly more than the other one.
Yeah.
And it also has a charging time for the two batteries of 5 hours.
So much faster.
Much faster. Much faster. This is the charger right here. As you can see, it's plugged into the wall. We are inside the office. Zero emissions in here. Another thing that I like about it, the other EVs that I've tried out, the batteries are in the compartment.
Yeah.
So once you open the compartment, there's nothing else you can put in there, or very small stuff that you can put because of the batteries. But the Segways, the batteries are on the floor.
Dude, I didn't know that. I thought that all EV scooters, the battery was really on the floor.
No, sometimes they're where the compartment is. So it takes away a big chunk.
That's a lot of space.
Whereas this, it's on the floor. So you can actually put a full-size, full-face helmet inside the compartment, no issues whatsoever.
I did not know that.
So there are other safety features for the E300SE, the top-of-the-line bike, that's also not available in the other one.
Okay.
This has ABS, and these have J1 brakes as well. That's just, the brakes are okay, right? I mean, you've been using that, the brakes are fine.
Powerful.
It's powerful.
Yeah.
But this one, it's just got that extra level of safety with the ABS and the calipers as well.
Can I just ask you very quickly?
Yeah.
Do you really think a scooter of that size, traveling at that speed, really does need ABS?
Well, this is actually faster. I've gone over 100 kilometers per hour on this bike.
What?
Yeah. The reason why I slowed down is because, I mean, the wheels are kind of small. So I didn't want to push it more than that because it kind of, you don't need to. In a scooter like this, you don't need to go much faster than that. Okay. But it's capable of doing it. So, I mean,
So the ABS is warranted?
The ABS is warranted because this is a faster machine than that.
Okay.
Yeah. But what are your thoughts about, the other stuff about the bike? Like, let's say the dash, some of the others. So there's riding modes. There's like 3 different riding modes. There's reverse, there's cruise control on both bikes.
I think the cruise control is a bit much. I don't see these bikes really leaving the city quite often.
Okay,
It's a bit much for me. The reverse could be also a little bit much because I don't think, even with my short legs, I don't think that I'm going to need a reverse gear to be able to pull this out uphill because I think I'm more than capable of that.
Yeah.
But the fact that they're there, much like the ABS, I guess it's great. Styling's okay. I love the dash. It's a complete digital screen that's colored. You can see all the information there, your speed, the amount of charge you have left, the distance you got going, and even a little clock. So yeah, I think the styling, for the better part, I actually like it.
So let's talk about the price, right? The entry-level Segway was on sale for 98,000 pesos, which is not bad.
I don't think that's very bad. I think, for the amount of technology that you're getting, for the fact that it's electric, that's not so bad.
It rivals some of the combustion engine scooters out there in that range.
It does. But that's not this guy,
No,
right?
that's the entry level.
Okay.
This one, the middle range is 125,000 Philippine pesos. So, is it still like, you're looking at, how much is a Honda Click? I mean, you're looking somewhere along those lines, right? But that's closer to the entry level price.
Yeah, it is.
And then this one right here, the top of the line, fully loaded with ABS, with nice brakes, all the goodies, is actually 275,000 Philippine pesos. But come back here. If you look at the other the EV scooters out there that is, somewhat similar in specs as this, they're close to that price range. That's just the way it is. I mean, EVs with the goodies that this comes with is around that price. So it's not like it's too far away from some of the competition. Now, I know it's a big gap between that and this in terms of price, but the goodies that you get with this and the performance that you get with this as well, for some people, it may be worth it.
Although I did react kind of badly, but if you think about it, the price difference between, let's say, for example, a Click and a Vespa is huge.
It's huge.
Massive.
Yeah.
But those things basically are the same thing. It's the same engine, same types of engine, basically the same brakes, and they both run on gasoline.
Yeah.
These things are the difference between electric and gasoline, and the price is much large or the same difference as, let's say, for example, a Honda Click and a Vespa. But then here, parang you can really tell the difference because it's electric.
Yeah. There's a whole lot more technology. So yes, it is on the pricey side for most people. Let's be honest. There.
So are Vespas.
So are Vespas, right? But people still buy them.
Yeah.
And because the reason why I also wanted to get into EVs because I was kind of one of those people that says the Philippines is not ready. the Philippines is not ready for the EV for EVs just yet. But I've seen the infrastructure improve just in the past year alone.
Yeah.
I've seen it improve. I also understand. I've spoken to some people who have told me that there's a lot of plans for renewable energy to be used in some of these charging stations.
Yeah. Correct.
So because of that, you may as well get ahead of everybody else and start using the EVs already, because we're headed towards that direction anyway. There are malls already that have charging stations, and some of the malls still use coal. They're still powered by the grid.
Yeah.
But there are malls that have solar panels already.
On top.
So that's the reason why this movement is going to happen sooner or later. Because of the price range of this, which is 275,000 Philippine pesos, aside from other EVs in that price range, you're also looking at the Vespa Primavera, the GTS, and the Aprilia scooter as well. So we've actually featured on MotoDeal.
Looks good.
Yeah, they all look great.
Yeah.
They all look great. They all perform well. And they're all around in the vicinity of this price range.
Correct.
Some are a little bit more, some are a little bit less. But in terms of technology, obviously this has more.
So basically with those scooters, you're paying for the name. Here, you're paying for the technology.
You're paying for that technology. I mean, sure, the brand is Segway. I mean, it's a very popular brand as well. But in my opinion, this just offers more than those. Than those. Don't get me wrong. They're great scooters, especially if you love the classics like Vespas, or if you love the performance and look of an Aprilia. They're great.
Yeah.
But this is still a little bit different, right? I mean, the people who will buy those scooters, in my opinion, are not the same people who will buy this. Because this is more about technology. That's really more about heritage in terms of Vespa and performance in terms of Aprilia.
Okay.
So it's still different. It's still very, very different.
Speaking of technology, the other feature that I like about this bike is that you can take the batteries out and bring it upstairs.
Yeah.
Because I live in a condo.
So do I.
You live in a condo too. We don't have access to plugs downstairs in the garage.
Yeah.
So instead of having to look for, let's say, for example, a charging station, I can relatively easily take the battery out, bring it upstairs, charge it. I can charge it overnight and then get going the next day. So I think that it can be a lifestyle for people that don't have charging stations available to them.
Yeah.
It just, I would say that your lifestyle has to be a bit on the dependable side.
You mean predictable?
Predictable side, not
so you know your route every day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, because right now we're charging this bike inside the office, right? With the charger. But yes, you can take the batteries out. Even though they're kind of heavy, bring them up to your unit and then charge them there. So that it is quite useful in that sense.
Correct.
But so enough talking. We have talked enough. I think it's time to take
That's what we do for a living.
Take these babies out on the road. And I have a little surprise for you. We're going to go to a destination and we're going to have a little challenge.
Eto ka na naman sa surprise. If I have to pick up something else from Paete, really, I'm gonna blow a gasket, man.
Let's go!
So this is the future of riding, Jinno, that you can actually talk to each other. It's been so long.
This has actually been around for quite some time, but welcome to the world of cardo. But, one thing that we didn't talk about while we were in the office that I actually want to mention is that you actually don't need your key to start this bike because it does have an app.
From your phone?
Yeah, so you can start the bike with your app, and then the app has different things that you can adjust on the bike. It also has a map, so you know where the bike is. There's an extra safety feature as well. Also has an alarm system, so anti-theft and all that kind of stuff. It's really definitely super loaded compared to other scooters out there.
Wait, when you say it has a map, you mean this thing has like a Find My Bike thing?
Yes, so it knows where you are. It's actually pretty cool. If somebody tries to move your bike and you're not there, it's gonna alert you. The app's gonna alert you that something's happening to the bike. But Caco, you've already tried a lot of electric cars.
Yeah.
And to you, what is the pros and cons of an electric car compared to a combustion engine car?
Well, obviously range anxiety. That's always going to be a big thing, range anxiety. Regardless of the infrastructure being ready or not, you're still going to have that anxiety in you because there are only certain places that you can go to. But the disadvantages, apart from range anxiety, I really don't have a lot of disadvantages that I can talk about electric vehicles, and I would assume that it would be the same thing for scooters as well. I know this is going to be kind of hard for you to describe, but does it feel like a 150cc Vespa? Because this is a little bit down on power, and I know you've driven a 150cc Vespa before.
Yeah, so this is supposed to be equivalent to a 150 or 125. However, it doesn't feel like that. It feels closer, in my opinion, closer to a 300 because of the acceleration. The acceleration of this thing, well, we don't see it right now because it's traffic, but the acceleration of this thing is really, really quick. And it's not just in the bottom, it's on the top end as well.
Okay. So if you're saying that it's closer to being a 300, for that price, it's actually pretty suited because like a Vespa GTS, which is 300cc, is like over 300 grand if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Like this 401 beside me right now. I can race that guy.
That guy you can race, wow.
That guy.
Here on EDSA, I don't think it feels unsafe at all because you've definitely got enough power to keep up with most everything that's going to be traversing on the same path as you are, right? So I don't have any issues with that.
Yeah, because it feels like a scooter. It feels normal. It feels like a normal scooter.
It definitely does. It definitely feels like a normal scooter.
And I think that's why you also need a proper driver's license in order to operate this vehicle.
Yeah, as you should, yeah. Because like you mentioned earlier, I mentioned earlier, it's definitely not a toy. It's driving is, of course, it's a privilege, it's not a right, so you should be very well educated to be able to operate these things on public roads.
I'm glad you haven't asked me where we're going.
You know, I'm dying to, but I have a feeling that you're just going to give me some lame excuse that I'm going to surprise you, so...
Well, I wanted it to be a surprise. Because it's a little bit of a challenge for both of us. It's a test, put it that way. It's a test for our skills and also for the scooters as well. So I think it's going to be pretty interesting to see how both of us are going to do in this
Answer
place.
me. Dude, have you ever heard of the ACHU test?
A what test?
It's this test that me and Jack do on electric vehicles. That, let's say, for example, your foot is on the accelerator and you all of a sudden sneeze, and it just shows how powerful that particular electric vehicle is. So I'm going to do that right now. So pretend I'm holding onto the accelerator and I'm going to sneeze. Achoo! That's well, it's a scooter. It's not very give and go right away. But maybe the ACHU test on you. Yeah, go ahead.
Ready?
Okay, that is impressive. That's actually quite impressive.
And making seeing it with this little Segway quite easy also.
Yeah, it is. At first I thought that the Segway would actually break your momentum. It wouldn't allow you to freewheel, but that's not the case here. You know that whole thing that when you're leaning in to make seeing it and whatnot, and you're using the momentum to get in and out of traffic, yeah, it's still there. So
actually, I'm glad you mentioned that because there is something that you can adjust on the app, depending on how much engine brake you want.
Oh, you can fix that.
Yeah, you can actually adjust the engine brake of the bike, which is I find very, very useful.
You know, that sounds really cool, but it brings me to a point where, remember how I told you that the cruise control and the reverse gear was a little extra for me? What would have been cool, is there any way to turn that technology into, let's say, for example, regenerative braking on this thing?
I don't know if you can call it regenerative braking, but There is a way to adjust. Like if you close the throttle, the bike will slow down a lot. It doesn't freewheel as you mentioned a while ago. It doesn't really freewheel that much. It really will. It's like you're depressing the brake. Now that we are on C5, and we all know how bumpy C5 is. How does
Especially the lane where all the trucks are.
Yeah. How does the suspension feel for you?
To be honest, I thought it would be the same as the Vespa, but it feels like it's a wee bit smoother. Maybe
Really?
because of the battery weight is down low.
Okay.
Or is it because my Vespa's much older and there's a lot more rattles?
It's not crazy bad. It's not crazy good, but I don't think there's much that you can do with it. Even if you put like, I don't know, maybe an all-in suspension in this thing, I honestly don't think it's going to be that big a difference.
No, and also it goes to the fact that you have to understand what it is that you purchased. You purchased a scooter. You didn't get yourself an easy rider or anything like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're gonna have to contend with some bumpiness.
All right, so welcome to Angkas. This is actually where the Angkas riders train, and then they either pass or fail after going through this course.
How many times have you failed this thing?
I've failed it once, but in a different location, and I was using a big bike. So it's not conducive to a big bike.
That's understandable.
Yeah, so now we're gonna be using the Segways. We're gonna be taking the same course that the applicants will go through. And apparently, there's a big chunk of applicants that fail. Not many people pass this.
Okay, I'm starting to get worried about this because of the whole failing thing.
Yeah.
Is there any advantage that I can have? Because you obviously ride motorcycles a heck of a lot more than I do.
You know what? You have an advantage here. Because
What disadvantage? I drive cars.
No. Because you ride scooters. I don't. I ride big bikes. So you actually have a slight advantage here because you are more used to scooters than I am.
You have a point.
I don't know if I'm gonna pass this. I failed this already with a big bike. I don't know if I'm gonna pass this.
So you're telling me that there's a chance
That you might win.
for once.
Yes.
Let's get to it.
So, good afternoon to you guys. Here we have the skills that we will be performing for Angkas. And all the applicants, riders will have to go through these skills.
Okay.
So, we find series of obstacles around the area wherein the rider has to go one by one
Okay.
and perform it correctly, safely, without any errors.
Okay.
So we have here, the first one is the humps. No? And then when you turn to your right, you find some wooden plank there farther away. It is a narrow area where you should control your balance
Okay.
and manage your ride.
Okay.
And then turning here, you have a big figure 8 on the floor.
Parang tight yung figure 8 ah.
Yeah, it's about 1.5 meter wide.
Okay.
So the purpose for the figure 8 is to manage how to turn properly and shifting your weight left and right in the road, wherein you have to manage the obstacles, no? Going around and left and right.
Okay.
Then from there, you go straight outside, and then you find a straight slalom. This is a much more difficult skill in maneuvering during the turn. So you turn to the 1, then the 2, then the 3, and the 4. Going outside after that without hitting anything. Going to the 3rd. Can we go here?
Yeah.
After the staggered slalom, we have to pass through the tight turn. This is a small area wherein you have to fit your bike. Example, if you're on the road, there are always small streets and pathways that you have to go in. You have to go in without hitting any of the pylon. Then when you reach the stop area, yun yung stop area, no? You have to stop there using both brakes without the emphasis of skidding,
Okay.
no? Or sliding.
Okay.
So proper braking tayo.
All right. So did you remember all that?
No?
All right.
Ready?
And go. All right, here comes Caco on his actual run. He did very poorly a while ago. Kuya Gilbert said I did better, but I think we both would have failed. But here he is, entering the figure 8. I don't think Caco, I don't think Caco knew what a figure 8 was earlier, but now he does. This is already difficult without a pillion, but these Angkas riders do it with a passenger behind them, which is actually really impressive. So he's gonna get out of the figure 8, and this is where it gets confusing. I think both of us really messed this up pretty badly earlier. And it's gonna be a little slalom first, and then it's the 1, 2, 3, 4 turn. So after the 4, he goes wide past number 2. He's gonna go to number 1, make this turn, and then he's gonna have to make himself go to number 2. After he gets past number 2, he has to go to number 3. That's a little tight. Can he make it? Can he make it? Yes, he does. And then number 4. Ooh, not bad, Mr. Terona. Not bad. And here's the tight one. This is where it gets a little bit difficult. The turning radius, the skill, no problem for Caco Terona there. I am now under pressure. I think he's doing well. I'm in trouble. I admit it. I admit it. Kuya Gilbert, thumbs up.
Yes, pass.
He did a lot better than I thought he would. He did a lot better than I thought he would. I have to admit something. I hate the fact that Caco went first and he passed. I really hate that. Because now it puts the pressure on me. It puts the pressure on me. But I want to point something out. Remember the time I was on MotoDeal with you and I beat you? Loser! I just want you to remember that.
You won't let it go. I'm not gonna let this go.
Okay, here we go.
And that's difficult. And get number 1. There you go. Come around and get number 2. Yeah, and then make a big one to get number 3. Just basically feathering the throttle right now and hoping that it calms down.
Oh shit!
And he
I
missed
got lost
number
there!
4. He missed number 4 and he's got to go back around to get...
Ah! Oh! I am so pissed off. I'm so pissed off that it looks like, no, that doesn't look like. Caco did beat me. Okay, so I am not a sore loser. So congratulations, Caco.
Thank you.
You beat me. You beat me fair and square.
That was hard.
I failed the Angkas scores again. But Kuya Gilbert, thank you very much for showing us the Angkas scores.
Thank you very much.
And as Caco mentioned kanina, we have such great respect for the Angkas riders because nahirapan na kami dito, wala pang pillion eh. And seeing the Angkas riders go through this with somebody in the back, it's gonna be so much harder. So it's a good test of the Segways in a simulated real life situation, controlled like this. But today I learned something, that Caco is a better scooter rider than I am. And I am not afraid to, I'm man enough to admit that I need to practice some more on a scooter. Para mas safe, diba? But ladies and gentlemen, if you want to learn more about Angkas and of course the Segways, you can log on to www.motodeal.com.ph. I'm Jinno. He's Kuya Gilbert. He is Caco Terona. And I hope you guys enjoyed this special episode of The On The Ride. Remember when I beat you on MotoDeal again?
Oh, come on, let me have this one.
Remember
Just
when I
this
beat
one.
you?
Just this one. Let me have
Remember when I
just
beat you
this
on
one.
your channel?
Won't let it go.